Happy episode 5.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Chrysler. Happy episode 5. I really just repeated the exact same actions that I did a second ago.
Yeah, you said it, looked at your phone, and readjusted yourself all again. It's the same way you just did.
And I'm taking off my shoes.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Wait. I think Adam's taking his off.
How you know you're comfortable 101. If the shoes are on, you're doing it wrong. Whoa, that was a rhyme.
We'll be driving like 2 minutes down the road, and I take my shoes off in the car. We were going 90 on the interstate, and I was taking my shoes. I'm driving also. I took taking my shoes off. Like, this ain't comfy enough. Can't do this.
Have you seen Roxy drive with her leg up?
Oh, yeah.
That gives me so much anxiety. Roxy's Emily's sister, by the way, my cousin. But she drives with her, not the foot on the pedal, but the opposite leg will be, like, tucked up to her chest. How?
I do that sometimes, too, though.
How?
You just pick your leg up.
I don't know why. It gives me so much anxiety. I'm going to crash the car.
It doesn't do anything.
I don't know that.
No, that leg isn't a vital part of the whole driving thing.
Regardless. The first time she did it, I was like,
Excuse me?
I was like, wait, what?
Are these cheat codes for driving?
Do that. Cheat codes for driving.
It's how you go faster. If your foot's not down there messing with the airflow of the air conditioner, not the outside. I don't know. I don't do it often, but I have done it.
Living life like, nope.
Larry?
I was trying to say living on the edge and living like Larry at the same time. And it just didn't work.
Living life on the edge of Larry.
Living life on the edge of Larry. I'm on the edge of Larry. Whoa.
What does it work?
Merch. Okay, so have we said the name of the podcast?
No. We've repeated multiple times that this is indeed episode 5 of a podcast.
It's episode 5 of The Morbid and the Mundane, featuring 2 literal ghosts.
Featuring one morbid and one mundane. Mundane.
Mundane. Which one of us is which?
Neither.
It's like Schrodinger's cat. Like we're both. But
we're the
also
the
both
and
neither.
the and.
Oh, so we're just excluded completely.
No, the morbid and mundane.
Then where's the morbid and the mundane?
Adam says it's him. He pointed.
He's both?
He gets both titles.
He gets both. So Adam's morbid mundane. I'm and you're the.
Works for me.
Okay. Works for me. Well, this is indeed episode 5, which is very exciting.
Word?
Those were words.
No, they weren't.
There's got to be a word in some language.
Simish.
Yo, have you seen people? Oh my gosh, wait. I went down a rabbit hole the other day. Did you know that voice actors for The Sims are given, they call it like the Bible of The Sims, and it's each word translated into Simish.
Oh, that's dope.
No, it's so fucking cool. So, like, there was one girl I follow, and she was replying to a comment that was like, oh my gosh, like, drop the book. And she was like, no, can't do that. Signed a lot of paperwork to get this thing. But she translated a bunch of sentences for people. It was super cool. It was so cool.
That's pretty.
It's like when people sing in Simish, it really gets me.
I haven't seen that. I'm going to have to, like, watch people sing.
Oh my gosh, it goes down a rabbit hole. My Chemical Romance recorded Na 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 in Simish. So did Paramore recorded a song in Simish for one of the Sims games. Like, this is a thing.
Why have I just not known that?
It's my favorite phenomenon.
I've seen The Sims, like, while they're dancing around and singing. Mm-hmm. I've heard them sing to me as I control everything they do in their lives.
Dictate their college majors. Have you gotten university?
Yeah.
I love that.
I have pirated.
You have the whole thing pirated. Yeah. What was
my favorite thing was like they sent their sim to university and they majored in computer science and proved it was a simulation. And that's just when you stop playing Sims.
That's just when you stop playing Sims because they proved they're in a game.
They know they're a game now.
That's a lot for me.
That's a creepypasta like prompt right there, though. You could run with that.
We're all in a
Somebody
simulation.
get on that. No, and then like the sim, like a Ben Drown kind of thing where the game just gets more twisted and twisted after they prove they're a simulation. Club? Yeah, or like they start like writing about the simulation stuff.
Oh my gosh. Dude,
I'm writing a creepypasta.
Dude, Doki Doki really messed me up because of that. Like, I started playing it, and I obviously knew what happened. I mean, it's classified as a horror game.
Yeah.
So, like, I wasn't one of the people who was, like, tricked into...
Yeah.
But, the part where she starts manipulating, like, code in the game...
Yeah.
It was a lot for me. It genuinely scared me. I quit.
It's a cool game.
Did not finish that game. You know what's a cool game? Monster Prom. Have you ever played Monster Prom?
Is this the Monster High game?
No, but it might as well be. It's so much worse.
Okay.
I love that game. It's another dating sim, but it's a dating sim with spice.
But, like, is it a horror game?
No.
It's just related because it's a dating sim. Okay.
Yeah. And it's multiplayer. It's a multiplayer dating sim. Lucille and I played it not too long ago. You can compete for, like, the same person, and they can also reject you, and they can be mean to you. Like, you can make enemies in this game.
That's fun.
It is.
I just try to, like, make everybody pissed at me.
So it's, like, it's an achievement, I think, if you get rejected by all of them.
I'm here to win.
I'm here to win. It's super cute, though.
I saw, like, y'all playing a Monster High game. That's why I thought of it.
Yeah.
Do y'all just play the Monster High games?
No.
I don't know why. I thought, like, I saw it on Snapchat or something.
It looks like Monster High.
Monster High?
Yeah. It was a crucial point of my childhood. Loved that.
They're well-made dolls, too.
Yeah.
They're kind of, like, bad now if you go look at the toy
Well,
aisle.
they were discontinued.
Yeah, but they brought them back, and the dolls are just bad quality.
Yeah.
But the first one of them, those were, like, good quality toys.
They really were. I was absolutely obsessed with them. I still have some of them, but we gave most of ours away. But I kept the ones that, like, were really hard for me to find.
Yeah.
So I have, like, Cleo's older sister, and it was fun.
I didn't know she had an older sister.
Right? No one does. The doll's a different size than the other ones.
Oh.
So it was really difficult because so there's all of the regular, the 6 girls or whatever, and then you also had, like, some of them had boyfriends or brothers or whatever, and those dolls were all built like dudes. But if a character had an older sibling or a younger sibling, it was either a smaller or larger version of, like, that model. So, like, Claudine had an older brother, so he was a bigger version of the dude model, and she also had a younger sister, which was, like, a smaller version of the female model.
That's cool.
Yeah, Cleo had an older sister who looked real cool. But I just liked the werewolves. You're bringing me back. Why are we talking about Monster High?
I don't know how we got here. We'll probably have to take some of it.
This is going to be a good outtake.
Just the whole
a
Monster High
rampage.
It like was recommended, just like Monster High fan art was recommended, like just going through suggested posts on Instagram. And I don't even follow that many art accounts, and I follow nothing Monster High related. But it was like, no, you need to see this. And then, like, I don't know.
Recently, my TikTok has been bringing me back to middle school.
How does it know?
I really don't know.
How does it know everything I did in middle school? Because it'll be someone recreating something they went through, and like the exact, like they could have been somebody.
We're all living the same life.
That, but also I'm like, maybe they did go to the school with me because that exact thing happened. Like, it's just weird stuff.
But like mine popped up with and I watched it. I'm not even ashamed to say I watched this video all the way through, and it was rating Monster High couples. I was like, why is this on my For You page?
But I have to know.
But I have to know what your thoughts are. And it's bringing back, like, Vocaloid stuff. Like, I haven't listened to Vocaloid in years, but now I have a playlist of it because I'm going...
TikTok.
I'm regressing back to my middle school self.
It's not okay.
A
lot of people said it was COVID's fault because you had time to, like, unpack your old hobbies.
Yeah, I guess.
And so, like, when we went into lockdown, you would dig through your room and find stuff you used to do and, like, you know what? Let's go on a trip back memory lane, except it wasn't a trip. It was, like, a staycation.
Now we're all obsessed with the same things again.
Yeah.
We all got back into Minecraft YouTube.
It's back. It's here to stay. Probably not, but...
Oh, my goodness.
Minecraft will continue to come up like that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, in cycles.
Anyway, this is a podcast about ghosts. And scary
this is
stuff.
Indeed. Okay, so... Whoa. This is indeed a ghost podcast, and we're going to talk about ghosts, amongst other things. Should I start?
Yeah, I said that if you did 3 episodes in a row, it's tradition.
Okay.
I can't break it now.
Okay.
It'll hurt my heart.
So mine, I'm not talking about, it's not a ghost, it's not a true crime. It's a phenomena is what we're going to call it.
Cool.
So it's not really one coherent story. It's like something that a lot of people have experienced. Do you have any guesses?
I have a guess, but it's something I want to do, so I don't want to be wrong if I guess it. Because then you'll, like, know what it is. Like, you'll hear the...
Okay. So I'm going to tell you what it is, and then if it's not what you're thinking, I have a second thing that I think you're talking about, so I'm going to say it.
Wow, this is a lot of guessing.
Wow. So I'm going to be talking about the staircases to nowhere.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so that wasn't what you were thinking?
No.
Were you thinking about black-eyed children?
No.
Okay, because I almost did that. I got very close to doing the black-eyed kids.
I want to tell you what I did because it's, like, was thinking because it's very off.
You should.
But, like...
I'm going to forget about it.
Okay, I was definitely about to guess Abraham Lincoln's ghost.
Whoa.
And we won't unpack that.
Whoa. Talk about left field.
You said a lot of people have, like, dealt with it, and I was like, word, it's Abraham Lincoln. I mean, he talked to a lot of people. No, but don't look into it. I'll tell you about it. It's good. There's some good stuff about Abraham Lincoln's ghost.
The more you talk, the worse it gets.
Anyway, let's get back to these staircases.
Yes. Do you know what this is?
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
you're not supposed to go up them.
Yeah, so they are, the concept is that, for some reason, a lot of people in titles of, like, videos and things will classify it as only national parks. It's not only in national parks, but they are abandoned staircases, and they're all over the world. So the classifications, or, like, the identifying features are they're really deep into the woods. This isn't some off the beaten path, or, like, this isn't, like, on a path or something like that. Like, you have to go deep, deep, deep into the woods away from civilization to find these. They're untouched by man. There's no other structures nearby at all, and no remnants of other structures. It is literally just a staircase. And these areas aren't areas people frequent, so there's no paths nearby, there's no civilization nearby, and it's creepy, dude.
Yeah, no, I like the pictures
Yes.
that some people take of them are just unsettling for no reason.
It's so messed up, and I did not like it. Because the more I read into it, because, you know, at first, like, the concept just sounds creepy, right? And then you start reading about them and realize, whoa, this is way more frequent than I thought it was, and it only got worse. So they're made of varying materials. So some will be brick, wooden, concrete. The one that got me, cast iron spirals. A spiral staircase in the middle of the
And there's,
fucking
like, no
woods.
Building.
No, nothing. Not a single thing.
I hate the pictures because it's like you can't tell that there was a building there besides the stairs.
Right.
But that tells you people build stairs well. That's just good information.
That's
to know.
what you got from that?
I had a fear growing up that I would step on the stair and fall through. No reason to, because obviously stairs are built better than any other structure.
Built different.
Stairs are built different.
So sometimes they're in perfect condition, and sometimes they're dilapidated. Sometimes they're literally just ruins. Some people also say, and this got me, that the stairs will have pristine white carpet. Any reaction?
Like, I hate that, though.
Like, completely white. In the middle of the woods.
No.
In the middle of the woods.
No, because the lizard's going to climb up that. And he's going to make it dirty.
So they're
trying
often...
to sell car insurance.
So often... Trying to sell car insurance.
No, keep talking.
Is this a Geico commercial?
We're sponsored by Geico.
Geico
We're not.
So often the stairs are completely missing dirt and debris, and there's no sign that an animal has interacted with them.
That's so cool.
So it's the description I found that explained it pretty well is that they exist in their own bubble. Nothing comes near them. And there seems to be no pattern as to where they've appeared. Lots of people have seen them supposedly in national parks. It isn't limited to there, though. And some people also report evidence of graves nearby. I couldn't find much on that, but it was in 2 different sources. Some people said that there were just evidences of graves, like maybe a few headstones or like fresh turned dirt or like mounds of dirt, you know what I mean? And then other people were saying that there were well-kept graves near them.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I hated this. I read it, and I was like, I don't know why I'm going to mention this because it's going to make my skin crawl. But one story actually said that they saw a staircase coming out of the water when they were boating on a lake in the middle of the woods. And it came up about 4 feet out of the water.
That's so weird.
Isn't it? Isn't that just disgusting? You know what I learned recently from TikTok?
Please share.
I'm just giving you time to react. That there's this fear. It's one of those really, really niche fears of man-made things being underwater. Have you seen some of those images?
Awful.
It's just...
He's nodding in there.
Yeah, he's nodding because it's revolting. It's...
Do you know the man who he makes statues to drop them in the water?
What?
Because I think he's my number one enemy. Because if I was like scuba diving somewhere and there was just a random statue that nobody knew about, I would automatically believe that it's like another realm trying to contact us, aliens or something.
Another realm. Submechanophobia. I don't know what it is. Well, I mean, I do know what it is. I Googled it. But this shit.
Yeah, those statues, people, sometimes they're there to, like, protect barrier reefs.
Mm-hmm.
I forget why the other guy was dropping them in, but it was different than that. And it was, like, a noble cause, but I just, like, it's off-putting to see a whole statue underwater.
There was one.
It makes me think of Atlantis, though, and that's kind of cool. Like, Atlantis would be fire if it was real.
There was one I saw, and it was, oh my gosh, I'm still looking at these pictures. I hate it. There was one I saw, and it was somewhere where scuba diving was like a tourist attraction. So they intentionally dropped things into the water for scuba divers to find, and one of them was the skeleton of a shark. It made me want to die. Like, I can't emphasize enough that just the empty holes where the eyes were supposed to be and the teeth. No, thank you. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am.
I'd be trying to, like, wiggle a tooth out while, like, the people weren't looking.
No. Keep that away from me.
You don't want a shark tooth?
Okay, so there were stairs in the water. And it unlocked a fear I didn't know I had. But really the only common thing about these stairs, because they vary in a lot of different ways, the only common thing is that they're very deep into the woods, between 10 and 40 miles deep into these woods, and they're very far away from civilization.
That's probably why a lot of people say it's state parks.
Yeah.
Because that's where you're going to find big stretches of woods.
And I'll get to it later, but a lot of the testimonies of people finding them are, like, troopers.
Okay.
So it makes sense because those are really long, big stretches of woods. But I was watching a YouTuber today who was saying that there was one, like, in her backyard. And it was like a kind of how your backyard is, where there's a lot of woods, not very deep, but woods still. And her cousin used to go by, the way she described it was the stairs were, like, going down into a river. Yeah. Hated that imagery, but it exists in my brain now. But so there's a lot of theories as to what they are, because they, they're always reaching up to nowhere. It started off sort of like an urban legend. I'd compare it to the black-eyed children phenomena, where it's like one person came out with their story and then a million other people were like, wait, I have that same experience. And it started to gain traction on the internet, specifically Reddit. There were whole threads dedicated to people finding these staircases in the woods. Some people try to write it off as just remnants of a structure that has been broken or weathered by time. I can understand that, but if that's the case, something else would have had to survive. Yeah,
it's in so many of the pictures there is no other.
Literally nothing.
Like, it's everything else is, you're telling me completely, what was left of the building was completely covered by dirt. Like,
right.
How did everything else break enough to have a whole layer of dirt that I can't even tell anymore?
That. And, like, buildings, they're made out of the same things.
Yeah.
Why is a brick staircase going to survive if not a brick building?
If nothing else of the brick building will.
Right. It doesn't make sense.
I've heard some people talk about it as, like, a fire. But then, like, how did the stairs dodge everything with the fire? Like, why
pristine white carpet.
Yeah, no, like some of the, and like the metal stairs, it makes sense for those. Like, if it was a wood building with metal stairs, okay, yeah. I'd believe that. But like some of them that, like you said, brick stairs,
wooden stairs,
yeah,
spiral staircases,
yeah, and they're just fine, and there's nothing else the pictures are offsetting.
They really are, but and it's also that and the fact that they're way in the middle of a national park. What other structure would have been there? 40 miles away from the nearest possible human? Why? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Because, like, I can't emphasize enough how deep these things are into the woods. No one else is going to be there. No one else is going to live there. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, some people think they're stairways to different dimensions. Because sometimes people can see them and sometimes people can't. Like, you'll be with a group and half of you will see the staircase and half of you won't. And sometimes they appear and then disappear. So,
like, you can't find it again.
Exactly.
I love the stories like that because it could so easily, you just like couldn't, it's not on a path.
Yeah.
You just have to remember how you walked through these random woods.
Right.
It's going to be hard to find again, but you don't know if you get to the same place or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that, because your only landmark is that
is
stairs.
the staircase you're looking for.
Yeah. I love the, like, stories like that.
Some people think they're straight up portals to hell, which is fun. And ironic, given that they go up.
Yeah, I was about to say, a lot of them go up.
Yeah, it's ironic. And then, so there was a psychic who made a blog post, and it said that she explored some of these. Unclear as to whether or not it was in person or in her mind. I don't know what's going on.
Oh. I don't know what's going on.
But she said she got close to them and her emotions went completely numb. And she said that these spots were used for alien abductions.
But then why would the aliens stick around and build stairs?
I don't know. But she said that these were used for alien abductions.
Oh, like they built the stairs to abduct people who climb up them.
Maybe.
That seems more realistic
than
in
aliens
my head.
Kidnapping someone.
Because I thought it was like they they kidnapped the person and then they wanted to remember where it was, so they just got out their little spaceships and were like, let's build some stairs.
Oh, no.
Like, that's the first way I thought about it, and I was like, it can't be that.
It can't be that. But, so she said they were used for alien abductions, and then that's why often it's search and rescue personnel who find them, because they're looking for a missing person.
Oh.
Yeah. And, you know, the people would have supposedly been abducted. So, like I said, it really gained traction on Reddit, and people were flooding subreddits with stories, experiences, pictures, everything. And that is when, so a lot at the beginning, a lot of these were stories in America, like West Virginia, Michigan, or whatever, and eventually just started getting bigger and bigger. There's stories from the Philippines, Portugal, Germany, Switzerland, all over the world. These staircases exist. So this isn't a uniquely American thing. The first person ever to share the story about the staircases was a Reddit user named Search and Rescue Woods. So this person claims to be a volunteer of a search and rescue unit in an unnamed national park. The Reddit post, I don't remember the exact wording, but it actually starts with, like, I'm a search and rescue volunteer and I have some stories. There's like 18 parts, and he's talking about all these different things that he experienced in the woods. It's some creepy stuff. And, because, you know, missing people.
I'm excited to read that.
Yeah. What is it? The 411? Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a conspiracy about people going missing in national parks. It's a big deal. I think I was going to talk about it. I have it in my notes. I was going to talk about it for one of the episodes.
I've, like, heard that, like, you know, be careful in national parks, but I don't think I, like, ever delved into a conspiracy theory.
There's, like, I don't know it off the top of my head because I haven't really done research on it yet. But national parks are for some reason a big deal. But he tells other stories about working in the parks. So he talks about missing person cases, like noises in the woods, that kind of thing. But you can actually, like, look through, because like I said, it's divided into parts. If you scroll down, all the comments are, whoa, this is creepy, but that stair thing, though. Go back to the stairs. Tell me more about the stairs. So he said he didn't know. So I'm gonna paraphrase the post, essentially. I'm not gonna read it, but I'm gonna paraphrase. He said he didn't know if it was regular for other units across the country, but for his unit, it was too regular to find staircases in the woods. He said that just about every case where they're really deep into the forest, between 30 and 40 miles, they'd find a staircase. He described it as looking like you physically, like, cut a staircase out of your home, picked it up, and just dropped it into the woods. Like, pristine. The first time he ever saw one, he asked other members of his little unit about it, and they told him that not to worry, that it was completely normal. And he wanted to go investigate, but he was told, like, yeah, it's normal, but never under any circumstances go near one. He goes on to say that his, like, officer had seen staircases completely flipped upside down. The description was like a dollhouse with removable stairs if you turned it upside down and just shoved the top into the dirt, and it's just balanced.
Awful.
Isn't it?
I hate that.
And he goes on to say that
you can't say that one's like a built structure either.
It's not, right.
Unless it was like tornado.
Even then, completely balanced on the tip?
I don't know, man.
But he goes on to say that about every 5 trips into the woods, they'd see a staircase, so that's roughly 20% of the time that you would see one of these.
I want to know what park this is.
I do too.
Oh my gosh.
So this story, though, being that he is a search and rescue volunteer, implies that staircases are often seen around places that people go missing, is the implication. After his post, there is a slew of other ones. So people often say they see staircases around where people went missing or died, or where they witnessed Bigfoot, other paranormal events, aliens, the whole 9 yards.
Bigfoot built stairs.
Maybe it's Markiplier. It's always been Markiplier.
It's he who?
It's he
Are
who.
you about to sit here and tell me it's he who?
So one person in West Virginia said they found stairs in the woods when they were alone. And they said at first they thought the stairs were part of a pre-existing structure, but there was no cellar, no other debris, no nothing. And eventually they left it alone because they were on their own in the woods and didn't want to risk being hurt, so they didn't get near it. Someone from Germany attached a picture of theirs, so I'm going to show it to you. But this one freaked me out because the stairs are like wide. I don't know why it made me uncomfortable, but ugh. But he found a staircase alone in the woods by himself, and he took a picture of it. So let me pull that up. This is the one he saw. He didn't get close to it, but that's his staircase. Okay. I just wanted to show that one because it was like part of the story.
And it's like wide. I do agree that is weird. I don't think I've ever that and like spiral when you said wide, I was like, you're about to show me some like castle like thing.
Oh no.
I got really scared for a second. Also because it was in Germany and like, you know, there's just dilapidated castles over in Europe everywhere.
I'm going to put some in the Discord, but so the reason I showed that one specifically was because it was attached to a Reddit post. Mm-hmm. So someone said, here's my story, and then here's the picture of the stairs to prove that I saw it. All of the other ones I found weren't linked to posts. They were just kind of pictures of stairs in the woods, and a lot of them are very uncomfortable. But I couldn't find stories to go with them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we can look at some at the end. But so that was in Germany, and then someone in Michigan said, I hate this one. I hate this one so much, okay? I hate this one for a multitude of reasons. It's like a bingo card of reasons that I hate this part of the story.
Hit me with it.
So they're in the woods, and it's them, the poster, the narrator, and their cousins, and they're in the woods, and they come across a clearing about half the size of a football field. A pretty big clearing. Nothing in it except a staircase.
That's awesome.
No, it's not.
I think I would cry if I saw that. That's so cool.
But it gets worse. So there's a set of stairs. It's not against trees or anything. And the narrator says his older cousin wanted to get closer to look at it. And so, first of all, the stairs looked like they were from a normal suburban home, and there was nothing supporting them.
I wish there's a picture.
There was nothing supporting the stairs, and no grass would grow around it.
Oh, when you first said like it was a clearing of trees, I was like, what if it's a really big crop circle and it is aliens? But now there's a little crop circle in the big crop circle. It's got to be aliens.
It's like a donut. It's like one of the Dunkin' Donut munchkins.
It's all Dunkin' Donut conspiracy theory. Because now people will stay up late and need coffee because they're scared of staircases.
It's a marketing ploy. Dunkin' Donuts sponsor us. So yeah, they booked it. They turned around and ran. But so even though there's a lot of stories about them, very few people have actually dared to climb them. Because when a person gets near a staircase, they become incredibly anxious. The feelings are often described as, I have a list of adjectives: unnerved, uncomfortable, nauseous, and an incredible feeling of dread is how it's described. The one that got me, though, was the word unwelcomed. Hate that. Someone said, quote, as if they were looking at something dangerous not meant for their eyes.
That's such a, that quote's so dramatic. Like, I get it, but that being interviewed by the newspaper, you're like,
a deep feeling. Yeah. Something dangerous not meant for my eyes. But they describe it as like an incredible feeling of deep wrongness in you because these stairs for sure should not be there. It's just, it's so unnatural.
I wonder if it's like a uncanny valley effect. Like your brain just doesn't like seeing that kind of structure. in such a natural area. Like, I wonder if it's just the brain wiring stuff that makes you feel like that, or if it really is a supernatural thing making you feel like that.
I mean, both make sense.
Yeah, or if it goes hand in hand.
I mean,
by the way, I'm sure, I don't know, but Uncanny Valley get like being scared of something that looks too human, like an animation that looks too human.
That's why people hate the Polar Express.
Yeah, that's like the most used example, I think, right now.
Because it's disgusting.
Polar Express. A good movie. Very scary people.
I can't watch it.
You can't watch it? But it's the hot chocolate song.
No. It's ruined. That scene with the puppets.
That is scary.
That, I still have nightmares about that scene. Like...
he knows all the words to the whole movie.
I remember he talked about that last time he was here. Dude, no. But yeah, the Uncanny Valley, Google it, and Google examples of it. It'll really mess you up.
You will be unsettled, even though it's like a lot of times cartoons.
Yeah.
And like a Christmas movie was our last example.
Or animatronics is the other one.
Animatronics. It's
like
all
puppets.
Like not normally scary stuff. I mean, animatronics are always scary. But,
always, no exception.
But, yeah, no, it's one of those weird things that your brain... Have you ever heard the explanation behind it?
Are you talking about the idea that we had an enemy at some point that looked like human?
There was multiple different, like, just how there's a lot of different types of species of monkeys that we were evolving at the same... There's no reason we weren't evolving at the same time as other humanoid species. And we just got too powerful too quick.
Yeah.
And just...
Wiped them
out of fear, maybe, but so it's like hardwired in our brain.
Yeah.
That's a theory behind it. You know, they can't prove it, but I mean, there's some really interesting like facts backing it up though. A lot of the skulls they have from Neanderthal people seem there a lot of them have like it seems like they were hit. The damages on their skull.
Oh, that's
like
crazy.
They were fighting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that was just in something I read about it. I can't give you the exact article. I'll have to dig it back up. But that's like thinking about the stairs. I've always thought of it as like maybe it's an uncanny valley sort of.
Yeah, and it also lines up with what we were literally just talking about, like man-made things underwater make you incredibly uncomfortable
because you know it's
not supposed to be there,
or like it's just off-putting.
Yeah. So interesting. That came full circle. So. Like I said, there's almost no stories of people going up it because it's incredibly uncomfortable to even be around them.
I mean, and the ones that did were abducted by aliens.
So one man said he was also part of a search and rescue team, and he did go up it. He went up a set of stairs. So they were looking for a hiker who had gone missing in the woods. He goes off on himself because, you know, when you're looking for a missing person, you're often dividing the space up into like grids. Yeah. So you each get a certain radius that you're looking.
It seems so scary. Like it seems like you'd have 2 people per grid.
Yeah.
It always seems so weird to me. Like,
but if he was experienced.
Yeah, you see it in movies a lot too, where somebody goes and gets their own area to search.
Yeah.
But like, what if they were kidnapped by an armed person? Mm-hmm. That always seemed like, and they probably do know how to handle those situations. And just because I've never looked into it, I'm thinking about it wrong. But that always it seems so weird to me when they would go off by themselves and be like, "Bro, no, somebody's gonna shoot you."
Yeah, I get that, but like the opposite side of that would be that everyone else knew exactly where they were, you know, because it's always really organized. Or not, I don't want to say always. I've never been part of a search and rescue mission.
It seems you're gridded out.
Right. So if person A goes missing, I know that person A was in this area when they went missing.
Yeah.
But he was in his little area and he found a set of stairs covered in a pristine white carpet. Brand new white carpet.
Bigfoot's out here vacuuming.
Literally. He said at first that everything was normal. He started to go up it, and at the top, the air became, quote, oppressively silent. Ooh. He could not even hear himself breathing. It was complete silence. In the woods. No ambiance. No birds. No nothing.
That's
Hate it.
Weird.
So, He ran down the stairs again to meet up with his team, but according to his leader, he'd been missing for hours.
Oh. Mm-hmm. It's a time portal.
And his leader immediately accused him of going up a set of stairs. And the guy was like, well, why would you say that? Like, why is that your thought? And the leader said, because we never found the hiker. I don't know what the correlation is between that. Couldn't find a correlation between that. But that was his response, was, I know that you went up a set of stairs because we never found the hiker.
What? What does that man know that we don't also?
Everything. Well, it was also his, like, commanding officer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want his stories. I need him to hop onto Reddit real quick.
So the thing with that, I didn't write it down, but I just remembered it. I was scrolling through, like, the Reddit itself because, you know, firsthand, and there were multiple people who were saying that their spouses were part of search and rescue teams, or their partners, or brothers, sisters, whatever. Like, people, what's the word?
One person removed.
One person removed from that situation. And they were saying that a lot of the times these people in their lives would make comments about weird things happening in the woods, whether it was paranormal or missing people or staircases, and their partners, brothers, sisters would tell them not to talk about it, would tell them never to bring it up to anybody else. Like it was a secret.
Yeah, some of that could be like they don't want to be seen as crazy.
True, but also that's a whole conspiracy in and of itself. What's going on?
The search and rescue people know some stuff that we don't.
What's going on in Yellowstone? I don't know any other national parks. What's another national park?
I don't know them by name, but the one with the redwood trees.
Isn't it Redwood National Park?
It totally could be.
Adam?
Do you want to fact check that?
Do you know the name of the national park?
Check for us.
Okay, while he's
there you
checking.
Go, a new job.
He's a fact checker.
And the sound engineer.
He just gives us a yes or no. Okay. So, So another story was from Detroit. He climbed the stairs. His stairs were made of loose cobble and moist earth. They're described as being really old, so like some castle some castle type shit. He climbs the stairs without thinking, and he said he, quote, half expected a landing to greet him at the top, because that's how high the stairs were. Obviously, there wasn't one. There was just a crumbling step and an unimpressive view, but they see movement out of the corner of their eye. He looks down into the bushes, and a person is looking back at him.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The face was described as lean and dark, and the eyes were big, round, and completely black.
Oh, okay.
And they're in the bushes looking at him.
It sounds like an owl. Are we sure it's not an owl? Because I want it to be an owl and not a person.
Regardless of whether or not it's an owl and not a person, he takes off back down the steps, books it, and he also reports losing a large chunk of time while he was at the steps. People also seem to struggle with taking pictures of their stairs, which is why there isn't like terribly too many. And it's been reported that if you go back to try and find them again, you won't be able to. So, with all of that being said, some people are still under the mindset that these are completely fictional, because the Reddit thread that this originated on was the No Sleep Reddit.
Okay.
Yes. For those of you who don't know what that is, no sleep is essentially when people create works of fiction, but they're phrased and presented as fact. And often people in the comments will like respond and play along to the OP's story. Some of the most well-known, I wrote some down, are The Limping Woman and Grandma's Lights Always On, are really famous. One of my best friends from high school is actually like a Reddit connoisseur, Cassidy. a Reddit connoisseur, and she specifically really loves no sleeps. So I asked her for one that I could like mention on here, and she mentioned Autopilot. I read it and it scared the crap out of me. So that, and she also reminded me of one that scarred me as a child. Do you remember Mr. Widemouth?
Yeah.
Okay. I still have nightmares about that. Like, not even joking. Once every month or so, I remember that exists, and I get super freaked out. But I digress. No sleeps are presented as fact, and often are believed as fact for, like, certain, like, the more realistic they are.
Yeah.
But the thing with this no sleep that's different is that when people started responding to it, they weren't playing along with the poster's story. They were telling their own.
Yeah.
Like, they were saying, oh, crap, no, I've had an experience like this. This has happened to me. It wasn't just picking apart pieces of his story like it usually is.
Yeah.
And most of them were, bringing up pictures and stuff, and now
there's a new thread, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what I was about to say, is that there is a new thread specifically for the stairs, and like news articles are like reporting on these things now because it evolved from no sleep. So it started off probably as fiction, and then it gained some legs. So that, if anyone has seen any stairs in the woods, please.
With some good stories?
Please tell me your story. The one about the person in the bushes really got me when I read it the first time.
If you saw an owl person in the bushes,
it's not an owl.
Really share that one.
You just want to know it was an owl so that you can say
No,
it
I
wasn't
said owl person now.
Oh, owl man.
Owl man.
Mothman. Can we do a Mothman episode?
We both talk about Mothman?
Yeah.
One of us talks about him like in a really boring way.
Yeah, I just want to sit here for 2 hours and talk about Mothman.
Oh gosh. We could probably fill a lot with Mothman.
Can we talk about the chupacabra?
Yeah. I almost did that for this episode, not gonna lie.
Wait, really?
I had it pulled up. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. Episode 5. Just walk out here with the chupacabra and throw that on the table.
I recently learned about, do you know what an aswang is?
I've heard that. I can't.
It's like Filipino, I think. It's a cryptid, and I didn't know it existed. It's like bird people. It's super cool.
Word.
Not cool. They eat people. But interesting.
Interesting. I often say cool when I mean interesting. So
yeah.
That's fair.
Intriguing. Can we talk about the Jersey Devil? What's another cryptid?
Nessie.
Nessie.
There's so many lake monster cryptids.
When I lived in Vermont, we had one. Like, it was Lake Champlain. It was called Champy. It was so bad. But when I lived...
Knock off Nessie.
No, literally, it was knock off Nessie. It was so bad.
There's a lot of those. What was in the Pop Tropica world? The cryptids Pop Tropica world?
I didn't think I ever played through that one.
Oh. That one was good. That was one of my favorites.
See, I was replaying the Greek mythology island over and over again.
Oh.
I was that kid.
I played the pirate one so many times because I would just get to the end and get the big ship, and then I'd be like, I have to restart.
The pirate one was so cool.
And the cowboy one. How do we get on these tangents?
Did not play the cowboy one.
It was like the pirate one. It was like very similar.
I just liked that it was more free reign, it wasn't a
both
story.
of them was you went off into the free roam area. Mm-hmm. Very basic free roam. It's
but it was cool.
Yeah, it was very fun. I loved those. But the same thing with the cryptid one was one of those. You rode around on a motorcycle.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds sick.
Mhm.
Did not play through that.
Yeah, but you could go like to the Jersey Devil, the house where the Jersey Devil was. Scary.
Scary.
You could find the chupacabra. It looked really weird in Pop Tropica, though. It was like a blue tiger.
What?
Which I have seen, like, descriptions of it like that, but usually it's small and a lot of, like...
I also thought it was a dog.
Some people say it's, like, a raccoon rat-looking dude.
Whoa. Me?
I have something to say about, we can keep this in or cut it out if we need to.
Yeah.
First, few things. The last episode, you talked about Myrtle Plantation, and I said, I think I've been there. I didn't. I went to Destrehan Plantation.
Okay.
Which is another big haunted plantation in...
Everything in this state is haunted.
Any plantation you go to is haunted. But also any building ever.
Literally.
Any
street. There are literal streets.
The air here is haunted.
That
one did have a burnt part and then got renovated. Oh, okay. So that's why I was remembering that. But also, I was sitting in the living room and Roxy, again, my older sister, was talking about, we were just sitting there and like she doesn't know what's happening in these episodes because they haven't aired yet. And she was sitting there and she's like, hey guys, did you see this on the news? A plantation burned down.
Whoa.
And I was like, whoa. I was sitting there having an internal panic attack. It's like, I just jinxed a whole plantation. Oh my God.
Whoa. That's creepy. That's creepy.
I forgot. She said the name. I don't remember it. And I don't know if it was today or if it was just recent.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the Myrtles plantation. It was a different haunted plantation that I went to. Which is weird because I remember seeing a picture of someone with a green turban.
Yeah.
Could not remember that word. But that one did burn down. So we know where I got my story from.
Awesome.
And I predicted one burning down this morning. So
I hate that. I hate that she doesn't know that was what we talked about either.
And literally we were just sitting there. I finished doing my research for this one. And I stand up, go sit down in the living room. And like that's one of the first things we talk about.
Did you tell her that we talked about it on the podcast?
No, but that's when I asked. I was like, hey, Mom, what plantation did I go on a field trip with?
I'm glad your mom remembered.
Yeah.
Because that's a scratch or an itch we needed to scratch.
Yeah, because I was like, I think I'd remember if it was Myrtles. But then we started describing it, and I was like, it might be. But then it's like, they all look the same.
Genuinely.
So it's a style of building, so they're all going to look similar. And like
antebellum.
Yeah.
The antebellum South. What is it with Louisiana and fire?
We talked about that last time with New Orleans catching a fire twice.
And then last night after we finished recording, I remembered that multiple times people tried to burn down like the Lalaurie mansion.
Yeah.
Like it's just a thing in this state. Like
people go to fire. I guess like it might just be
people do turn to fire.
Genetics.
It's genetics.
There's a lot of fire in the past in this area. People are like, yo, fire's scary.
Dude.
But also caveman. We come from caveman. They had to be scared of it.
I hate you. But this whole state is so haunted. When I was looking up, because originally I wanted to do something from Louisiana as like the first episode, so I was looking up stuff from Louisiana. Do you know how hard it is to Google like Louisiana hauntings?
Oh, you'll get every building.
Everything. Literally everything. There were whole streets in the French Quarter that they were like, yeah, this entire street is haunted, as is every building individually.
Every other street also.
That. It's like a whole bars. There's a pathway.
I have a separate piece of paper. Like I've showed you my papers that are just like case names for true crime stuff. I have other ones for other categories, and literally anytime I'm reading something and it says such so-and-so Louisiana, I'm like, I'm going to write that down and come back to that. Because that building probably has its own, like, slew of just weird stories.
There is a church in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge.
I don't know what church you're talking about right now.
The one with all the baby dolls.
Oh, I don't know where it is, but I know what.
I can't remember if it's in Baton Rouge or New Orleans. But there's literally a church full, floor to ceiling, with like lined the walls with baby dolls. Why are we like this?
I mean, there's two things. Cults are crazy people, or they were really drunk. And it could be either so easily.
And either one is so plausible. Oh my goodness. Okay. What have you got for me?
All right. Andrew Jackson.
Oh my goodness.
So let's just...
What a start.
I'm going to get that out the way. Andrew Jackson, 7th president of the United States.
That isn't... Is this why you were thinking of Lincoln earlier?
A little. I guess I was on the president's mindset.
Next episode, it's Washington. We just go through.
Yeah, we go through every president, not in order.
Not in order.
But we just hit all of
the
them.
Episode after that, Obama. Not dead yet, but he's already haunted. He's already haunting the White House.
Oh my gosh.
I miss him. I miss him.
Did you know him personally?
I might as well.
I also want to say, I said it to you earlier, but I haven't said it on here. I have two things, like 2 stories.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not that related. I'm just going to be honest.
They're both just
I
two
really
short
like them, and I'll tell you why I connected them together in my head.
Okay.
Because I couldn't find enough to do one.
I'm curious to what you're going to connect Andrew Jackson to.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just, for funsies, he was a general in the U.S. Army.
That is true.
Yes. He served in both houses of Congress.
Okay.
There are 2 different documents pertaining to what state he was born in. Either North or South Carolina.
Okay.
There's 2 reasons why it could be disputed. This has nothing to do with that. I just thought it was really fun facts about Andrew Jackson.
I thought you were going to say, like, Michigan and Alabama or something, like, really far apart.
It's the Carolinas. One thing is, it was really just, like, not lived in at the time, and there was no exact lining of where the 2 states differed. They just knew that there was a North and South Carolina. They just didn't really know where it changed.
Okay.
They, like, had a vague idea where the line would go. So it could really just be, like, it wasn't a very integrated part of civilization,
right.
So it just wasn't kept records of. But also there are beliefs that there was a note saying he was born in one of them, but there was also a note saying he was born in the opposite. I don't remember which was which, and the note that seems to be, like, faked almost could have been faked for political reasons, like to say because he aligned with a thing. Oh my God! A bill that North Carolina had signed, I believe, more than what the other one was. So he was trying to play that he was from there. He like was with this stuff and wanted to make it like he was that people's person.
Gotcha.
Kind of thing.
He picked his Carolina and he stuck with it.
Yeah, but then there's a different note saying he's from another one. I think from an uncle, but then I don't think that uncle existed. Andrew Jackson's got some stuff, but we can't go too far into that. I just thought that was really fun. And then his ghost supposedly haunts buildings in downtown Tennessee. Again, not what we're talking about. But I just thought that was fun. So I threw that in there too. He lived in Tennessee, by the way. Like, moved out of the Carolinas that he had some issues with.
Okay.
Yeah. He was also just like a characterization thing. Temper. I remember learning that in A-Push. That he was just a very easy to set off kind of person.
Right.
And I just liked his quote from the last day of his presidency. He said he regretted that he had been unable to shoot Henry Clay or to hang John C. Calhoun. If one of those two would have died, they would have had to pin it on him because he's literally like,
if I die, it was definitely Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson's coming for me. He told everyone.
My Instagram bio. If I die, it was Andrew Jackson.
Oh my gosh, we should make stickers.
Oh my gosh, we should make stickers.
But then when I read this, I knew I had to put it in here. Did you know that there's a chance that Andrew Jackson was a ghost hunter?
What? What?
What? So, did you, have you ever heard of...
No. Why didn't they teach this in A-Push?
This seems so much cooler.
What we really wanted to know about. Tell me all about it.
Okay, so there's, like, one thing that he's really attributed to ghost hunting with.
Okay.
And you may or may not know the story. It's a very popular ghost story.
Okay.
The Bell Witch.
Yes!
Blair Witch based off of it.
Whoa!
Yeah, okay.
I almost did that today.
That would have been insane.
That would have been so insane.
If you would have sit here and started telling my story, I think I would have thrown a hissy fit, first of all. But then for you to tell the whole story, and then for me to be like, so hey, did you know Andrew Jackson ghost hunted for that ghost?
I would not have believed you. I would have said we're canceling the episode. Like this one is the hidden episode.
Don't worry,
that
but
never
I have
gets
a
aired.
backup that I'm gonna tell anyway. So
Okay.
if that'd been so funny if you
I
walked
really
in here
did
with
almost
that.
do the Bell Witch. It was between that, the Black Eyed Children, and the staircases.
That would have been so epic.
I decided not to do it because it was too much of a ghost story.
Yeah, it is a very ghosty story.
Yeah.
It does have some conspiracy to it though.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which will I do go through the ghost story right now. A very shortened version of it.
Okay.
It's not my whole ghost story.
So we can still do an episode on the Bell Witch.
Yeah, and
Okay.
go more in depth. But I just wanted to really focus in on our Andrew Jackson here.
You picked the Andrew Jackson retelling of
Yeah,
the
I wanted
Bell
the
Witch.
Andrew Jackson storyline,
It's
not
the
the
Andrew
other
Jackson
stuff going on.
I don't care about the other ghosts. What does Andrew Jackson think about the situation?
Dude, I don't even remember how I found it, but like it was just a sentence thrown into some other article, and it was like, "Excuse me, you're not gonna tell me any other information about Andrew Jackson being a ghost hunter?" So I had to look it up, and I was like, "I have to talk about this because it's so cool to me."
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
I just really also wanted to sit here and have to tell you that sentence to see your reaction. Okay. So John Bell, the farmer, he lived with his family in Tennessee along the Red River. Again, Andrew Jackson lived in Tennessee.
Okay.
Also, his ghost supposedly haunts somewhere in Tennessee,
Okay.
but it does happen where he lives. So
Cute.
another thing connecting him with it. One night, John sees a strange dog-like creature on the farm and shoots at it because, sure.
Okay.
I don't know how spooky it was. It just said strange dog-like creature.
It's the chupacabra.
Oh, sure.
No, I'm just linking all of our earlier conversations.
I thought you did research on it.
Oh no.
And that's the conspiracy you were talking about?
No.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that one.
It's that was my one sentence. You're not gonna talk about how the Bell Witch comes from the chupacabra.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So he misses and the creature disappears, or he thinks he misses because the creature runs off.
Okay.
Maybe he shot this thing,
Right.
but it runs away. Just another thing with the dog, the family and slaves that they owned reported being followed by big black dogs. Like there was another account. They named the slave in the article.
So this is the Grimm from Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, big black dog, just following people around. And it says dog, but some things say dog-like creature. Dog-ish.
Side note: do you know why that's a thing?
Mm-mm.
The Grimm.
Mm-mm.
The reason for the big black dog being as a symbol of death is because in some cultures, before the belief was that the first thing buried in a graveyard would be the graveyard's protector. So before they would bury people, they would bury dogs so that a dog could protect, the spirit of a dog would protect the graveyard. And it'd be often a big black dog, which is why they're associated with death.
That's awesome.
I'm going to have such fun editing this episode.
Oh, this one's for you.
This one is for me.
Have fun. I've gone on so many tangents.
I'm so excited. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
After he shoots at it, they start having issues in the house. Before that, the only thing they really said was people reported being followed by something, but it's also in the middle of the woods, creepy in general. But then they start having a lot of issues in the house. Again, This is a very shortened version of a great ghost story.
Because we want the Andrew Jackson version.
Yeah, so they heard knocking on the walls, dogs fighting outside but can never find the dogs.
Okay.
They would hear chains rattling.
Weird.
They would hear, then it's not hearing anymore. There would be sheets pulled off the bed, where the kids were sleeping. I had more. And Betsy specifically was really picked on. Betsy, I didn't introduce her. Betsy is John Bell's daughter.
Okay.
And she would get her hair pulled. She would get scratched at.
Ooh.
It would often hit her, the witch, and it even poked her with pins.
like needles?
Yeah.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Hellraiser.
But for some reason the witch
Oh no.
tormented Betsy.
Yeah.
Which goes into part of the conspiracy that Betsy was doing it all.
Really?
Facilitating it, and it was it was like a syndrome, but it's not a real syndrome. But they said like other kids had done it for attention. It's like extreme attention seeking almost.
Weird.
And it was like, even though it's negative attention, they liked being in control. Like, it was a weird thing that they described that it could have been Betsy. But that's the conspiracy theory I've heard about it, because a lot of stuff with the case has been like disputed or falsified. So it's hard to know where you should believe and what you shouldn't.
Weird.
So... But yeah, Betsy was either really messed up by a ghost or Betsy was the ghost.
I like both versions.
I know, both are fun. They had a friend stay at the house, and he left reporting that John Bell had a spirit just like the Bible. And that's a quote, spirit just like the Bible. So he was saying, like, this is something... There's something in there. Okay. Admitted to it and, like, told everybody.
Weird.
But I just like that they pulled somebody in to be like, yo, are you seeing this too? Or is this just us? The witch could mimic people from states away. Like, people would come in as investigators and ask it about people that had never been to the house. And people would get so freaked out and run out the house because it can mimic family members. And it would hold entire conversations with people. Like, it was a very talkative spirit. There's even some stuff reporting, not the one that there's a book written by someone from the town that's looked at as the most primary source on the thing, besides other newspaper clippings from the time.
Right.
But there's some later stuff talking about it that said the witch would there is some stuff from the time saying she was seen, but it never really describes how. And then there's some later stuff saying she would, if all the lights were off in the house, you could see a figure. And I just hated that imagery.
That is something from the Conjuring, Amityville Horror. No, thank you.
They named the witch Kate because she claimed to be old Kate Batts' witch. I don't know who that is. Okay. I couldn't really find it, but just I assume someone in the town. It was their witch first, maybe, or like
their witch first.
Maybe it was a witch that lived centuries ago in the area. I don't know, but they would call the spirit Kate, and it responded very well to the name. Okay. Like, they could call it to Kate, and it would respond.
Weird.
Yeah, I just picked its name.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that they had such like a casual name with it, but it says like this family was tormented every day by this witch.
Yeah.
And so they got on a first-name basis. I thought this was very sweet. Kate loved John Bell's wife, Lucy. The ghost is claimed to would sing to her and would bring her fruit, like leave fresh fruit on a windowsill for her to find, and just be, like, sweet to this woman, but then also told multiple people that she would kill John Bell. So I really...
Oh, so the witch is a lesbian.
The witch was coming for his wife and gonna kill this man's for her.
So the Bell... You remember when the Babadook was the gay icon and, like, walked at pride parades and shit? Because it was put into the wrong category on Netflix.
We need the Bell Witch in the pride parades.
Yo. I think I just found the title of this episode.
We need the Bell...
The Bell Witch is a gay icon. Oh, my goodness. I did not know any of this, dude.
Okay.
I didn't. Whoa.
I know. That's why, like, I figured you would know the story of the Bell Witch.
I mean, because the Blair Witch is based off of it.
Yeah, a lot of movies are. There's a list of how many kind of, like, steal from it.
Yeah.
And there's some by the name of Bell Witch. There's a lot of horror movies called The Bell Witch something or other. It's one of the oldest American ghost stories.
Right. Which is why Andrew Jackson's involved.
Andrew Jackson wanted to get in on this.
Right. Because...
Which is, like...
But he missed his mark because he picked a gay icon.
Yeah.
She's protected.
It's
homophobic to speak out against her.
You can't. You have to love her. Okay. So
I can't wait to edit this episode.
This is when we get into Andrew Jackson. There are several accounts from people there in the area that Andrew Jackson visited.
Okay.
And he was in the army at this point in Tennessee. Though.
Okay.
So he was in Tennessee in like a general in a troop, had men, and he would hear stories about the other investigators leaving in fear and had to get in on it. And at this time, ghosts and spirits, especially for a lot of people claiming it's a spirit like the Bible, you know, it's a very religion, and the idea of ghosts or spirits existing is very, like, coming up in this time.
Yeah.
Like, it's disputed if it's real, if it's a science, if it should be looked into, if it, like, what parts of it do we believe? What is this? Are we just scared of? Like, it's a topic at this point. So Andrew Jackson was in on it.
Right.
Which made sense to me because, like, other people in the time, you know, to be one of the top people in society, you just, like, kind of took in information. You were doing anything and everything. That's why, like, a lot of the founding fathers just had a lot of weird side hobbies because it was just so much, like, the what do they call it? It's, like, a period of time.
A renaissance. Isn't it like you're a Renaissance man if you can do a lot of things? Isn't that what it is?
But there's, like, a time in specifically American history where it's, like, where all the sciences are starting to be really popularized and where, like, knowledge and going to college and just, like, learning anything you can.
The Industrial Revolution?
No. It happens right before, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wait, I was close. I just said that as a joke.
I don't know. It's slipping from me.
It's being taken away. I'm trying to... Because isn't there also, like, a time in...
It's Enlightenment. It's the Enlightenment period, and there's 2 of them, but it's the one where they're, like, literally any science, they start exploring, like, it's real science.
Right.
They'll get into alchemy. Like, just anything and everything.
Alchemy is so cool.
They don't want to disprove anything. They literally just start exploring anything. So I was like, that makes sense that, like, Andrew Jackson, somebody who's going to be in those circles, is going to be into a lot of that. And ghost hunting isn't, like, a thing like now where, like, a lot of people are very skeptical.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really hardcore believing in it. And then it's like, we believe in spirits and God. You know, why wouldn't this be real? So it's kind of viewed as more of a, yeah, I'm going to go check out the ghosts.
Like, yeah, I'm going to go visit the lesbian witch.
Everybody's running out of this house. I'm going.
I'm just going.
Yeah.
Maybe if I get lucky, she'll bring me fruit instead of needles.
There is no, like, concrete paper saying he was in this area besides people claiming he was.
Okay.
So there's no, like, military movement written down that they went there. But also it wouldn't be, like, a movement for military, so it wouldn't necessarily, that kind of stuff wouldn't have necessarily been written down, but just saying it's only, like, people saying it happened.
Okay.
He did live in Tennessee, and I mentioned that, but so a lot of people say, you know, he's from here, you know, why wouldn't he stop by? And it could have just been trying to, like, get more traction on the legend.
Right.
Because another conspiracy with it is that they faked it for attention and, like, traffic and, like, people liking their farm and all of that shebang.
The shebang.
So it could have just been someone saying, yeah, Andrew Jackson was here. Come to our town, please.
There's a witch here, and also Andrew Jackson.
He brought with him, one of his men was said to, like, know a lot about witches or spirits.
Imagine being that guy.
Imagine being that guy in the group being like, oh, I know all of this.
And
Let
you're
me
called
go
on
talk
by
to her.
Andrew Jackson to go visit a witch.
Yeah, no, but the witch supposedly taunts him to the point where she's telling them to shoot her, but she's, like, locked up the guns or something. So they're scared out of their minds and, like, run off.
Whoa.
Like, she's just, like, and, like, supposedly they all report that, yeah.
She's an icon.
She was sitting there saying, shoot me, nerds.
I locked all the guns up, bitch.
And
I'm trying to be like that one
That
day.
guy leaves and doesn't come back. The rest of them, along with Andrew Jackson, who is loving it at this point. A lot of the quotes are, it's like, this is, like, the coolest thing I've ever done. That is very, like, summarized. It was a long quote, and it, like, that's all he was saying.
This is the coolest thing I've ever done.
It's something like, this is the most fun I've ever witnessed. Like, he's, like, supposedly was really like, wow, this is crazy.
I would be saying the same thing.
She eventually gets to the point saying that every night they stay, she's going to torment someone else, because that day she was specifically targeting the witch guy because I guess she didn't like that he was saying he knew all the information and that
we don't support misogyny.
He was going to prove all of, like, he would know what to do. And so she showed him. I just love it.
You're really making me about to start a fan page for the Blair Witch. Like, she really is an icon.
Oh my gosh, Kate out here slaying.
Kate, tell these men what is happening.
So the men with Andrew Jackson demand to leave because she's saying that every night she's going to torment someone else and no one wanted to be next. So Andrew Jackson is only there for the day as a ghost hunter.
And then he leaves.
And then his men are so scared that they leave. But Andrew Jackson was apparently like, wow, this, like, I believe it. This is so fun. They're there for the day, and it's also like they have trouble talking to her at the first part of the day, and like the family's like, no, this stuff really happens, and like they hear weird noises, but it's nothing to be like, wow. And then it gets to the point where the guy, I think was saying like he was saying this isn't real, and then so she's like, no, I'm real, and I'm about to ruin your life. So but yeah, that's Andrew Jackson ghost hunting adventures.
I loved every second of that.
I just thought that was too good to not talk about on a podcast.
From start to finish.
I have other things that just like related to it.
Okay.
This is regarded as legend. Like nobody will say for sure that Andrew Jackson was there or a ghost hunter. Because a lot of the other stuff with the Bell Witch, it has some like stuff that was passed down as fact that wasn't really factual in the time. It's gotten like, you know, through storytelling, the facts get messed up.
Right.
So there's a very good argument that this could have been twisted in at some point, but there's no real evidence pointing either way. So it's just kind of up in the air. I really hope it's real. I really hope Andrew Jackson was a ghost hunter for a little while. Like we said, the Blair Witch Project is based off of it. And there is a cave named the Bell Witch Cave because the farm is no longer standing, but a cave on the property is. And the claim is that she like, that was her base. She was the creature that he shot at and lived in the cave.
Oh, shit.
And that you can go on ghost tours in the cave, and we're going. So,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all I have to report to you about Andrew Jackson.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I loved it.
I do have another story for you.
Okay. Can you tell me how they're connected?
Yeah. There's another man you may or may not have heard of. Ben Franklin.
What?
Not a ghost hunter.
Oh, okay.
But very cool. So, but that's how I connected. It was like, they're like well-known dudes. And so I threw them in together.
Okay.
And they're shorter stories. And I didn't want to fluff them up and talk about random stuff.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to talk about them on here.
Okay.
Just because it's like stuff you never hear because they're not going to teach it in a history class.
Right.
But this isn't as much backstory on Ben Franklin as I went into. I really wanted to talk about Andrew Jackson for some reason.
Okay.
But some stuff about where he lived. He lived in London in a 4-story townhouse on Craven Street.
Okay.
36 Craven Street is his address. I just doxed Ben Franklin.
I just doxed Ben Franklin. I'm changing my Instagram bio again.
And in 1998, the house was renovated into a museum about Ben Franklin and his life.
Cool.
Before that, it was just kind of left. Nobody lived in it, but it was just kind of a rundown building in London.
The concept of houses becoming museums is so cool to me.
Yeah, imagine you do so much that nobody touches your house for a while, and you're like,
Right.
you know what, let's go back and make it a museum because he was just cool.
Like Elvis's house is a museum about his life. And then there's also like the Lizzie Borden house, the fact that the house is still standing.
There's another one, an axe murder that's not solved, that the house is a museum now, and the case is totally slipping my name.
Right.
But like I love when houses, so much stuff happens that they're like, nobody else can live here.
The concept of like you're either very famous or it's just a crime scene is
It's
a lot
a bad
for me.
crime scene. And how many bad crime scenes do people just live in the house now?
That
is another thing.
And how many houses, like, that were crazy haunted at certain times, like the Amityville house?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a lot for me.
Or houses from horror movies and you can just live in them.
Right.
Those, Silence of the Lambs, the house, just sold, and not for that much.
Really?
Yeah, someone just lives there. And it still looks creepy.
Someone lives in the LaLaurie mansion.
Amazing.
It's like, I know I've brought it up a few times. It's because like it's one of those things that I just know a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
After that one season of American Horror Story, I kind of went down a hole,
We lived at a really big house that's a museum, by the way. The Winchester.
Oh, the Winchester
I was like, that's
mansion.
a good example of, what the heck? The Abraham Lincoln Deathbed Museum is cool. Oh, you can just go see where he died? I can't see your ponytail. Yes, okay.
That's cool. He put a sign in the window for those
Adam did,
you were confused.
He was getting in on the conversation.
But the LaLaurie mansion, someone bought it, and it's closed to the public. You can't get into it. It's not a museum. It's nothing. Someone just lives there.
Amazing.
No. Why would you want to live there?
Yeah. Like, YouTubers will just go, like, Elton has done it before on TFIL. Mm-hmm. We've talked about him in, I think, last episode.
Our whole podcast is free advertising for these boys.
They deserve it. He was talking about that there was an asylum that somebody owned. Wasn't a museum, but they just owned it, and it's because somebody has to own that property.
Yeah.
And sometimes the government will sell it to people as caretakers, and they just live nearby. So Elton would literally just, like, talks about in one of the episodes, he would just call those people and be like, hey, I film videos for YouTube. Can I go in? And they'd be like, sure. Yeah. And I think that's brilliant. I'm about to call whoever lives in the LaLaurie mansion and be like, hey, so can I just, like, walk in a little? Like, I do videos. I don't, but like, we could totally just call and be like, hey, we do a podcast about spooky stuff. Can we do stuff in here?
Literally.
And, like, a lot of, like, Elton was talking about, a lot of people just, if you ask, they're like, sure.
Right.
Like, and that Elton's whole thing was he's kind of like, they don't sneak into as much anymore because he figured out that if you just ask, you're almost always going to get a yes.
Those sneaking videos are very funny, though.
They're amazing. And they do still sneak sometimes. But for, like, big stuff that, like, you get serious trouble for, he's like, if you can just find who owns it, call them. And I was like, thank you for the life advice, Elton.
Are the ones where they, like the water park ones where they're, like, trying to hide in a water park after it closes or whatever, and they always get caught. And at the end, Elton's like, yeah, I just actually rented it out for the night. I just wanted to scare you guys.
Brilliant.
He's a brilliant man.
He's psychotic, and I love it.
You have about 6 seconds to decide what you're going to do.
I didn't need that in my heart.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Ben, please tell me about Ben Franklin.
So, 1998, they're renovating the house into a museum. 1 month into the renovations, one of the workers finds a small pit in the basement.
Oh.
This pit is 1 meter wide by 1 meter deep.
Okay.
And it's like a square pit. So,
okay.
It's filled with dirt, and sticking out of the dirt, do you have any guesses?
A human hand.
It's a human thigh bone.
Who was buried alive on Ben Franklin's property.
They call the police, and they start to dig more of the pit up. Like, they get the okay to keep excavating it, and they find roughly 1,200 bones.
What?
It's the remains of 10 to 15 bodies, with about 6 of them being children.
Okay.
This is Ben Franklin's house.
This is Ben Franklin's house.
And to help you out a little bit, they're about 200 years old, and both historians and archaeologists confirmed the bones were in the house, in the basement, the same time Ben Franklin lived there.
So Ben Franklin was a murderer? Is that what I'm hearing? I don't want to jump to conclusions.
But, like, what if he was?
Are you about to tell me that Andrew Jackson was a ghost hunter and Ben Franklin is a mass murderer?
And just stuffed the bodies in his basement?
John Wayne Gacy did that.
It's not... Okay. He isn't a murderer.
Okay.
So
I'm a little disappointed.
I wanted him to be, because I just think that would be dandy.
Dandy.
But the real story, or what's believed to be the real story, is really cool too.
Okay.
So, I have in my notes why with about 1,000 question marks, because at this point I really thought I was looking up Ben Franklin being a murderer.
Literally.
And I was like, how did I get here?
I'm still convinced that's the story.
Why did I get this information? But anyway.
We only run a podcast.
Further investigation, or like looking into the bones, showed that they had been damaged and had cuts in them. Some were broken, some were sawed in half, and a lot of them had it was medical, it seemed. Like bone saws, drills, scalpels, boring
experiments?
Stuff. Kind of. And it's very cool, the kind of experiments. But so with it being medical and for Ben Franklin not being a medical man, they start looking into a very good friend of Benjamin Franklin, William Hewson, I think is how you say his name.
Okay.
And he is a very early anatomist. He is credited with, blood going through the lymphatic system.
Okay.
So your lymph nodes and stuff, how blood is involved with that, he discovered. Through some experiments with animals, which isn't great. But
Right.
he's coined the father of hematology, the study of blood. So, like, a cool dude.
A dude, yeah.
A very sciencey dude, and that's why him and Ben Franklin became good friends.
Okay.
Like, just in the science community, met each other and became good friends. In this pit, they also find turtle and dog bones. Not as much of in abundance, but they also showed signs of like mercury and vermilion coloring use with these bones, and that's very important because the way William Hewson proved that blood is involved in the lymphatic system of your body was using a turtle, which turtle burns were on the list, and mercury.
Oh, so it just was him.
It just was him.
Yeah. Okay, and Ben Franklin covered it up.
Which was just cool. But going further into it, because it gets cooler, using dead bodies was outlawed in the Middle Ages, and at this point, it's still very hard to get them. The only bodies that were allowed to be dissected were convicted murderers that like died in prison or were lynched or something like that.
Yeah.
So it had to be a murderer's body.
Interesting.
So there wasn't enough to go around at this Enlightenment period again. It's another they're connected by the same time period.
Okay.
So but it was still, you couldn't get bodies unless you were really like at a university, which he did study at a university for a while, but at this point he's kind of like freelancing. But it's very, also with the church being such a very like big part of society still, it's very taboo to have anything to do with bodies. Undertakers were kind of like not, people didn't really like them in society just because they always dealt with the bodies.
Right.
Grave robbing was a huge crime. You like were shunned for grave robbing. So
the fact that was even a thing still gets to me.
But since it's such a growing field, it's crazy hard to get the bodies. So here comes along the resurrectionist. Have you heard of this group of people?
No,
so
but I would love to.
They were organized groups of grave robbers and body snatchers that would dig up recently buried bodies and sell them to scientists as sort of like a scientist black market for bodies.
Whoa.
Isn't that dope? There was at a certain time 7 gangs of resurrectionists.
That name?
Isn't that just cool?
It's the name, it's the concept, it's the branding.
They were on it.
And the fact that they were selling these bodies to science is a lot.
Yeah, no, they saw a market and they went for it. They were like, man, there's a really high demand for bodies right now. We could do something about that because we have all these guys just like laying out back. And I don't know.
Yikes.
I don't know how I found these 2 stories, but just apparently these men in American history had some lives, wild lives.
Had some lives.
So why Ben Franklin's house? Why there? So there's 2 pretty good reasons. They're good friends, and he's also married to the landlord's daughter.
Okay.
So, like, could kind of get away with it because he was in the family of who owned the building. So it's not like if the landlord came over and figured out
that there were bodies.
He was probably in on it. And Ben Franklin was probably in on it. Also, it was really close to the Thames River.
Yeah.
I never know how to say that.
One of those.
Okay, cool. Where a lot of the... Don't shake your head at me.
Is it Thames? Is it Thames?
What is it? I'm dumb. It's okay.
It's pronounced the Thames.
Is it really?
Is it actually?
I've played Assassin's Creed, and I'm pretty sure they said it like how I said it, so...
Okay.
Okay, we can get bullied for that. I'm fine with that. The Thames River.
We should leave that in.
The resurrectionist would sail at night. Not sail, but like in little boats, bring the bodies up and down the rivers from graveyards alongside the rivers.
Whoa.
The river. Oh my gosh, I can't talk about this river. And there was a wharf or like a dock at the end of that street.
Okay.
And at the other end of the street was the gallows.
Oh, that's convenient.
So it was really just like there was a lot of ways for the resurrectionists to get bodies to this house and like sneak them in pretty easy, which is just convenient for this man's. And so that's why it's in his house. Mm-hmm. For dissecting the bodies, he could have gotten in like crazy amount of trouble, but for like dealing with the resurrectionists to get them like made the crime 10 times worse.
Right.
He's never like found for the crime because he dumps the bones in the basement.
Ben Franklin's house.
But
Which that's a sentence.
Isn't that just crazy? And we why was I not told this in school?
I would have paid so much more attention if this was the stories they led with.
Like, even if they just sprinkled it in, like we just got one fun day a week where they just had really good facts, I would have done
so much
crazy
better.
Good. Oh my gosh.
I could write an essay.
This is one of the reasons why very strong coffins become a thing for very rich people in European
because you don't want
society,
your body stolen.
because you don't want your family member's body stolen. So this is when like coffin making is really starting to, it's a lucrative business because they're like, these are the safest coffins, you know. The resurrectionist won't get your loved ones' bodies.
That is the marketing, the branding.
It also the idea for night watchers in graveyards comes from this.
Okay.
To look out for body snatchers.
Cool.
Especially during this period. So like having somebody stand guard for.
Whoa.
It wasn't just grave rob. Well, it's grave robbing, but like taking the whole body. Mm-hmm. You're robbing a whole body from a grave. So yeah, that it brought about a lot of cool stuff like that. And a huge part of how they got away with it is they would give undertakers and grave diggers cuts of the money. Oh. So they could be told where the fresh bodies were, and so they wouldn't be tattled on.
Go.
There were 7 gangs. Documented 7 gangs of resurrectionists at one times, and the gangs would often like fight over bodies or like have certain. They had territory. Whoa. Like they would have certain graveyards that was where they were finding bodies, and that's who they were in with like that's who the undertaker, and like some undertakers would start dealing with more than one gang and get in trouble with gangs of body snatchers that were selling them to scientists.
In Ben Franklin's house.
What?
The twist that the story is taking.
In the wrong time period because this sounds so much more fun.
I want to be an undertaker who's dealing with the black market of body snatchers.
Oh my gosh. And then a lot of
grave robbing is wrong, y'all.
Don't do any of this.
Don't do any of this.
We are not condoning these actions.
Okay.
Yeah. People would also like form into mobs to go and not hunt them, but like, well, a lot of people died because there would be warfare between gangs and also warfare between like mobs of normal people.
Okay.
Wanting to protect the graveyards.
Okay.
Which makes sense, but it just was like, there was some really weird, there was one specifically where it's a group of people mourning someone in the graveyard, see people snatching a body, and the gang leaves and comes back with more gang people, and the people leave and come back with more townspeople, and there's a huge gunfight at the graveyard.
Whoa.
What? Why have I never heard of this? It was, yeah.
School's teaching us the wrong stuff.
Another cool thing, they would hire women to act as a grieving loved one or a relative and sneak into dead houses or warehouses. In like a warehouse where they like a body was, and dead houses are kind of like morgues where the bodies were put before they were buried. So usually in a graveyard at the time, there'd be bodies in this house that were that day going to be put in a grave. So they wouldn't even wait till they were in the grave. Sometimes they would hire people to go distract the workers and steal bodies from these houses.
That's insane.
And the Friends of Ben Franklin Foundation believe that Ben Franklin probably knew, just because he was in the house at this time. They were great friends. There is no evidence that he participated, and there's technically no evidence that he for sure knew.
But it was in his house.
The foundation that runs like the museum and is like kind of in charge of Ben Franklin's legacy says, yeah, he knew. So I don't know what grounds they have to say that for him, but they do. And so Ben Franklin had an anatomist who was dealing with the black market of body snatchers in London. And isn't that just cool?
I have a lot of feelings.
Do you see what I'm saying, though? They're like the stories are kind of related. And mine, I totally started with a ghost story.
Yeah.
But my second one wasn't, but I was like, I'll throw it in.
I enjoyed it. I really did. I didn't know there was such a...
I couldn't just, leave that to a dinner talk. I wanted to share those two stories with as many people as I could, because that's the coolest thing ever.
I did not know that there was
a black
market of body sales.
15 bodies were just in Ben Franklin's basement.
That is a sentence I never thought I would hear.
They didn't know until 1998 that there were 15 bodies in Benjamin Franklin's basement.
Whoa.
How convenient also.
That.
He had people to cover for him. William. He had
Ben Franklin to cover for him.
He knew Ben Franklin, who has a lot of power, and the building was owned by his wife's mom.
Which is crazy. I'm still stuck, though, on the black market body sales.
I know. And
I'm thinking about the turf wars.
We learned so much of, London and stuff, but I never heard of the Resurrectionist.
Which is the coolest part.
How did they leave that out?
I want to know everything about these people.
I want a refund of school.
I want a refund of school. That's so interesting. How much...
And for Ben Franklin to be so closely associated with it. You would never think that. I started reading and I was like, this is fake. This is made up.
Yeah.
And I'm literally on the Benjamin Franklin website. Maybe it's not.
How much of history, though, were we just, not taught because it was morbid? Because if you think about it, when we were, our first American history class was when we were in 7th grade, right?
Yeah, that's when you, get specified history.
Right. And then from there you take, it was American history, Louisiana history, and then from there was, your worlds and the certain time periods. How much of that was... First of all, teachers are not given enough time to teach all the material that they need to teach.
Yes.
It's absolute bullshit. But how much of history was just written out because...
It's not important to, development of society.
Because
that part about Ben Franklin dealing with someone who dealt with resurrectionists, that doesn't show, how government's made. So you just... It doesn't help any kind of,
it would
develop
help
society.
Me.
Yeah, but it helps my heart to know that.
But, because if you think about it, at the end of the day, history, do we really need to know how, this is going to sound like a reach, but do we really need to know how society developed? We're living in it.
Yeah, there's some stuff why do we go so in depth?
That. And, learning things the Cuban Missile Crisis and things like that. Okay, yeah, it's important. I understand why it's important. Please teach me about Ben Franklin's dealings with the underground black market of body sales.
It was a huge scare in Europe at the time, too. It led to coffins being a huge market. And, like, before you were usually just buried, or it was a box.
Right.
Just to help with the burying process. But then it became like you're
like
safe in
coffins.
here. Yeah, it kind of brings about the whole, like, what we think of as a coffin.
Right. It's like the market of dying.
Yeah, and it brings about having to guard grave sites.
Yeah.
Because before that, there was grave robbing before this, but what I read said night guards came from having to deal with the resurrectionist.
Which is insane. That's a whole movement that we just didn't know about.
Also, why did I just learn how to say the Thames River, school?
Oh, yeah. But it's also like how many other things were just written out of history. Oh, hello.
Is it not? Did you lie to me? Are you about to tell me I was right? Okay.
Thames.
Thames? It's not Tim's. Thames? That's close enough. I can say it how I want.
But like how much of history was written out? Like we're taught about Emily Dickinson. We weren't taught, like, we're taught about like Anne Frank. We weren't taught that she was probably a lesbian.
Yeah.
Like we aren't
Stuff
taught
like
about
that too, is like people we learn about. I can see like why you wouldn't talk about body snatchers in school.
Yeah.
I think some people would.
But queer culture has just been erased.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Where
Right.
entire cultures are just left out.
Or like villainized, like Malcolm X.
Or you talk about
Like,
a person
why?
in such great detail, but such an integral part is
Mm-hmm.
left out. Because you'll learn about other people like that, where it's you won't know that they had a certain belief system, or that they
Mm-hmm.
had this thing about them that was such a huge part of them.
Yeah.
And you don't learn about it until you're on a Wikipedia article at 3 a.m.
Right.
And you're like, this is fake. They didn't tell me that in school.
School is a joke. Or no.
Go to
let's,
school.
Let's
Go
rephrase
to
that.
school.
The American school system though is so broken. And
Yeah.
especially like in different states, your education's going to be better or worse depending on where you are, and we live in the deep south.
Yeah.
Like
We're 51st.
yeah. we're not doing so hot in the education department down here. So our stories might differ from some of our listeners, but you know, American school system should teach me about body snatchers. That is what I'm leaving this episode with. That is the message I got.
That
The
I
American
was
school
dipped.
system failed me.
Also, Andrew Jackson was a ghost hunter, maybe.
Oh, probably. And
I
the
really
Bell
hope-
Witch was a lesbian.
We've learned a lot today. Thames.
Your stories always come with so much content.
The knowledge. I'm here to bring knowledge to the people.
We need to turn that into a sticker. I'm here to bring knowledge to the people.
Oh my gosh.
Yo.
Well, that's
This was
episode
an eventful
5.
episode.
This was just funny.
I enjoyed it.
I think we cackled for half of it.
Because it was good.
A much lighter one than last time too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
It balances out.
Yesterday was kind of dark.
Yeah, by the way, we filmed episode 4 yesterday.
Oh,
If
that's
we keep
true.
saying yesterday, it's because we don't film these and post them the next day. They are filmed in advance.
Filmed. He said filmed. He's trying to correct you. Recorded.
That's just like slang though. It's fine. Filmed. I understand why you're correcting me, but I don't care at all.
Adam has some feelings about what's going on.
He's just mad that we didn't know how to say it.
In the first few episodes, he was completely silent, and now he's getting real comfortable.
He's just done with us.
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
love
I
it, though.
can't sit through this anymore.
I love
They're
the
dumb."
evolution. They're dumb. I love it. Adam, you want to show us your picture?
Are you finished?
He better be. It's been 2 hours.
Living life on the edge of Larry.
It's a picture of Larry the lobster.
T-posing.
It says living life on the edge of Larry.
It's beautiful.
Can we turn Adam's drawings into stickers?
Yeah. No, I'll do it.
That will be fun. Adam, would you like that?
Are you okay with stickers of your drawings? He said yes.
It's a collection of just Adam's drawings.
a whole line.
Yeah.
I really hope there's one for every episode.
Yeah,
Even
genuinely.
if you're not in the booth for some of them, I need you to listen to the episode
And draw.
draw something.
Because they just get better.
They're pretty good.
It's the peanut butter one for me. Or the, who you going to call? The endocrinologist.
I have all of the pictures.
I love
they're
it.
usually, like, in this notebook, but they're in my planner right now.
This is good.
So.
All right, so that was episode 5.
We didn't say much this time, which is probably a relief, but follow us on Discord.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to post some pictures of those staircases.
And, I mean, I can leave some pictures of Andrew Jackson and Ben Franklin. And there are pictures from in the house. Because
oh, yeah, do that.
So I will show the house and pictures of the bones in the house.
Yeah.
And maybe some stuff, like articles about the resurrectionist.
Please, because I'm going to read those.
I loved it.
Sitting
there
that.
reading about it, I was like, oh, my gosh, this is a lot.
These are my people.
Oh, yeah. If I lived at that time period,
I would have been grave robbing.
I would have been a resurrectionist or one of the anatomy people.
Oh,
buying the bodies.
I hate this.
I would have lived in Benjamin Franklin's basement. And I fully believe that.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Who are you gonna call?
But yeah,
The
follow us on
endocrinologist.
Instagram. I don't think we said it last episode. We are morbid and mundane on everything. We might have actually. But yeah, it's
Literally.
very easy to find us. It's all linked from the Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you can get to the Instagram, you can get everywhere.
We're also the only thing on the morbid and mundane hashtag on Instagram too. So if you want us to see anything,
we will be checking that hashtag.
If you use the hashtag, we will see it.
If we miss it though, it's better to like send stuff in Discord directly to us because Instagram. Using a hashtag isn't a direct message to us. It just will look at it.
And then like to piggyback on what you just said. To piggyback. This is not a Socratic seminar, but Discord. It's the reason we use Discord as opposed to things like Instagram or Twitter DMs is it's literally like a direct line of communication with us. It's not like you're sending us a message in our DMs and we're never gonna see it.
Also, you can talk to other people. Because on Twitter or Instagram, you can direct message us, but you don't know anybody else. So, like, it's just cool to have a place to go, and there's a lot of people involved.
And, like,
it's different.
For things like listener stories and things like that, like, there's sections for that. Like, we will be looking and reading, and if you guys want us to see something, we will see it.
Yeah.
It's not like a roll of the dice, you know, which is cool, I think. I'm going to be in there a lot. I love Discord.
Yeah.
I also love talking.
Ooh.
That's why we have a podcast.
And I was going to say, if you hated talking, we are in the wrong business.
And also, so you already said Instagram. We also have a TikTok, which is a great place to, like, for clips and things like that.
Behind the scenes.
Outtakes and other stuff.
A lot of stuff that doesn't make it into the final cut goes to TikTok.
We record for, like, 3 hours, and our final episodes come out to be an hour and a half.
So half of the content
is gone. And if you think we're funny now, oh boy, howdy.
We actually cut out the funnier stuff. So.
We do. Like, there's so many bits that got cut.
Don't repeat them because we'll just have to cut it again.
Some things get cut and posted on Instagram and stuff, but a good place for that is TikTok, Discord, and eventually we're going to be starting a YouTube channel.
We do have it. I
Yes.
would go follow it now. It just, for right now, is the full podcast cast episodes. And probably soon after we have a couple lined up on ours, we can do funny clips of those. Or funny clips of outtakes. So there's another place besides TikTok to watch those, but we just kind of have to build up. We can't make 2-second videos. So.
And then also we're going to eventually start streaming. A lot of the content we've talked about streaming is like the horror games. Like, I know a lot of people I really cannot speak today. In a lot of episodes, you'll hear us talk about, like, things from our childhood. Like, today we talked about the no sleeps, but last episode we talked a bit about, like, horror games and how that content affected us growing up. We're going to be playing some of those games eventually, and those videos will be on YouTube whenever they happen.
So
just follow us. The message
here is please follow us.
Please just follow us. Also, iTunes reviews are very, very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So if you are my mom listening to this.
Hi, Mom.
hi, Mom. Leave me an iTunes review, please.
Yeah, no. If
we
you
have like 3 listeners.
have a second, give us a review.
And they're all our parents.
Helps us know what to make more of. If you have tips, we are new at this.
We are very new at this.
You can't tell. We're usually pretty nervous every time. So
it has gotten easier, though.
It definitely has, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we could improve on.
Oh, for sure.
And a lot of people who like are podcast connoisseurs. Can't say that word. And
the Italian.
Yeah,
connoisseurs. I think that's actually French, isn't it? I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, leave helpful reviews. Good reviews, hopefully.
Please, positive ones.
So we can get a little bit, spread the love.
I'm a Pisces. I'm sensitive. I'll cry. But seriously, thank you for listening.
Hope you had a good time.
I
really enjoyed the stories of today.
It was.
See you next episode.
Good night.
No.
And that's the cutoff.